This fifth generation Hyundai Santa Fe plug-in hybrid manages to build 3 seating rows into a package that gives you most of what you get from a really large 7-seat family SUV for not much more than the price of a mid-sized model in this segment.
It wasn't long ago that Hyundai's very biggest SUV, the Santa Fe, was primarily associated with diesel power. Since 2021, though, it's been available only as a hybrid or a PHEV, and that policy has been continued with the 5th generation model that we look at here in plug-in hybrid form. Like the last generation Santa Fe, the PHEV version of this one benefits greatly from the fact that this car is significantly bigger than most sub-£60,000 family-sized SUVs that you could choose. This means that unlike most rivals who often have to forego a third seating row in order to cram in the plug-in hybrid tech, the Santa Fe PHEV can seat 7 and now does so with avant-garde styling that'll really get them talking on the school run. To find out more, you'll need the usual comprehensive car and driving road test. Not many PHEVs these days, except this model's near identically engineered Sorento cousin, still retain a battery just 13.8 kilowatt hours in size, and that really hurts this Hyundai when it comes to EV range. It's AER rated at just 33.6 miles. Now that is about half what you get from the VW Group models in this segment, although admittedly they can't be had with 7 seats. The PHEV comes with mandatory 4-wheel drive and gets a power hike over the hybrid to 253 PS to compensate for the extra weight, although because the 265 Nm torque figure remains the same as the HEV, there's no real performance benefit. Rest to 62 miles an hour takes 9.3 seconds. With both powertrains, brake regen paddles are provided behind the steering wheel, although the stronger settings really aren't that strong. And there is a fascia button to switch between EV and HEV drive for when the battery will stand it, although there's no option to save EV range until later in the trip. Now, since air suspension can't be justified at this price point, for car makers, getting the ride quality right in a big SUV at this price can be problematic. Now, it needs to be supple for ride comfort, but not to the point where the vehicle corners like a channel ferry in a choppy sea. We think Hyundai has judged the balance pretty well here, although potholes and speed humps, of course, are still quite keenly felt, as is the note of the engine under harsh acceleration. That said, it does settle down a lot at cruising speeds, which makes the Santa Fe a really pleasant long journeying companion, and that's aided by a highway drive assist system which can maintain a set speed while providing steering assistance too on curved sections of highway. For that kind of cruising, you'll probably be leaving the car in the most frugal of the 3 provided drive modes. That's labelled Eco. The others are Sport, which perks things up really quite noticeably, and a My Drive setting too, which is basically an auto mode which sorts everything out for you. More terrain branded drive modes are available if you selected an all-wheel drive Santa Fe, snow, mud and sand. As with the previous generation model, these work with the 4-wheel drive system's H-track setup, which apportions torque in varying quantities between the axles depending on the traction that's available, at the same time as braking individual wheels in search of better grip. As usual though with a car of this class, there really isn't enough ride height here to venture anywhere too gnarly. So the terrain side of that drive mode dial will probably remain largely unused. It might be useful though if you were towing on a slippery surface, although that is really quite an unlikely eventuality with a Santa Fe, which thanks to the hybrid petrol powertrains can tug along just 1,110 kilos of braked weight. Hyundai's chief designer, Sang-Yup Lee, clearly wanted a complete departure from the previous generation model. That had a conservative visual vibe that the brand has now completely abandoned. The squarical, rugged, practical look of this replacement certainly won't be to everyone's taste, but for this kind of car, it's currently a look which is very much in. It's a trend started by the current Land Rover Defender. Senior Vice President of Design, Simon Lowsby, calls it a brick, which doesn't sound very complimentary, but this Mark V shape clearly has what its predecessors always lacked: pavement presence. It's certainly quite a striking looking thing, especially with this matte effect, earthy bronze metallic finish that we have here. What hasn't changed is the fact that this Santa Fe remains quite a lot bigger than the mid-sized 7-seat SUVs. It's priced only just above. It measures in at 4,830 mils in length. Most cars in this class are around 4.6 metres, and even something a bit bigger, like a Skoda Kodiaq, is 72 millimetres shorter. To give us some perspective, a large segment, full-sized Land Rover Discovery from the next class up is only 126 mils longer. There are some nice design touches too, like this panel on the upper door flank behind the rear door, which on this upper spec model pops open as a grab handle, so you can more easily reach things that are attached to the chunky roof rails. There are big squared off wheel arches too, which on all variants house alloys of 20 inches in size. Now, despite this boxy shape, the drag coefficient is surprisingly slippery. It's rated at 0.296 CD. At the front, the boxy horizontal design theme continues, even into the H-themed daytime running light signature of the square LED pixel headlights, which are separated by this black lattice grille and sit above vertical air curtain slots at each corner. At the rear, the squared off edges make the car appear even bigger, and into this vertical rear end, the designers added the largest tailgate that would possibly fit. Again, there's a distinctive horizontal theme here with the taillights stretching round into the wheel arches. The rear wiper is hidden underneath this upper roof spoiler. More important, of course, is what you can't see. Now, no changes were made to the underpinnings for this generation, but since the N3 platform that it sits on has only been in service since 2021, you wouldn't expect there to have been. Styling then that goes its own way outside, but will it be the same in the cabin? Well, to some extent, yes. There's no attempt here to follow the class trend towards an overtly premium ambiance, and you certainly wouldn't think you were in a posher branded model, but everything feels solidly assembled and of strong wipe clean quality. There's even more of a horizontal vibe with this dash design, emphasised by ambient lighting strips that frame the bottom and sides of the central fascia panel. Only on very close inspection are any luxury touches evident, like the Alcantara lining for the roof and the A-pillars, the carbon fibre-esque fascia trimming and the double stitching on the dash top. This chunky gear selector falls nicely to hand, as do these rather overly prominently positioned central wireless charging mats. Strangely, there's no steering wheel branding over which you view this expansive windscreen. As usual with Hyundais these days, a pair of gently curved, joined up 12.3-inch screens dominate the dash, and that suggests a level of media tech that the driver's supervision instrument cluster really doesn't deliver on. There are no fancy layout options, nor can you bring full screen mapping into your line of sight. On the plus side, the two circular dial spaces, MPH on the left and a power meter on the right, incorporate the brand's clever blind spot monitoring system, becoming little side flank screens when you indicate. Between the gauge spaces, you can choose to view a compass, a drive assist graphic, trip data, engine temperature, tyre pressures, the car's idle mode, range, and where fitted, the four-wheel drive system's current format. Everything else you might need to know is, of course, on this central touchscreen nav system monitor, which, as usual with Hyundai Motor Group cars, has a home screen which displays either with customizable widget sections. Here we have navigation, audio and the PHEV section, or if you swipe left, with rows of little icons. There's some really useful ones too: a voice memo system, a car wash mode, a valet mode, a vehicle diagnostics section, and live features which give you access to weather and sports reports and your calendar. Thankfully, this display isn't expected to control the climate functions as well. Those are dealt with by this 6.6-inch monitor below. It's a touchscreen with icons you have to glance away from the road to operate. What else? Well, you sit commandingly, and predictably the boxy, glassy shape gives you great all-round visibility. The driver's seat's comfortable and always comes with heating, lumbar support and power adjustment. On this top spec model, the Napa leather upholstered front seats are of the premium relaxation kind, and that means they can recline right back. One other nice touch you have to stretch right to the top of the range for is the UV sterilisation tray. It's a compartment which references this car's development period in the time of the pandemic and folds out of this narrow panel ahead of the front passenger. It allows you to hygienically store sanitary items like face masks, and enables you also to sanitize small items like phones, gloves and keys at the touch of a button. As for more conventional cabin storage, well, the glove box and door bins, they're reasonably sized. They could be bigger though. There is a deep box between the seats and cup holders just ahead of it. So let's take a look in the second row. Access for this at night will reveal a small design oversight. The handle isn't illuminated as it is at the front. A job for the facelift perhaps. Here in the centre of the car, it's certainly spacious. Legroom this time around is improved by 35mm. As before, this bench slides and reclines by up to 10 degrees. It can accommodate 3 adults thanks to this low-set centre tunnel, above which is a deep pull-out drawer. One of quite a few unusual touches back here actually. These include twin cup holders in each door, a USB-C port in the rear side of each front seat, and controls for the front passenger seat on that chair's side squab so it can be easily moved forward by the passenger behind. You might also like the fact that there are side window blinds, twin bag hooks on each front seat back, and if you avoid base trim, heated outer seating positions. You get B-pillar vents too, although disappointingly there is no availability for climate controls back here, even as an option. Less impressive is the fact that door bins are missing. They've been replaced by bottle holders. As expected, there are overhead reading lights, and you do get an armrest, which brings the rear seat cup holder tally to a record 6. You don't have to have this second row bench. With this top calligraphy trim level, Hyundai offers the option of a 6-seater format, which gives this middle row 2 separate captain's style chairs. Earlier we mentioned the extra body length this Santa Fe enjoys over more mainstream mid-size models in the class. Well, that should really benefit third row folk. To access the rearmost part of the car, you press on this button on the second row seat shoulder. That slides it forward out of the way. As usual with a car in this segment though, there is quite a climb up. And once you get yourself into the very back, there's the usual bum low, knees high seating position, which is better suited to kids, which is usually in this class. This part of the Santa Fe is mainly designed for. Still, adults relegated back here will be better off than they would be with most other models in this segment. And the big square side windows make it feel less claustrophobic than you'd expect too. The boxy shape means that there's more headroom than there usually is with an SUV of this class. 69mm more of it than before. There's also 15mm more legroom than with the previous generation model, and the seating height is up by 30mm too, so there's a better view forwards. The third row backrest can recline by 10 degrees, and both sides get a vent, a USB-C port and cup holders, while on the right there's also a climate dial and a 220 volt socket. Let's finish with a look in the boot, the aperture for which is exceptionally wide. Once this huge tailgate rises, Despite the boxy shape, it's no surprise to find that with all 3 rows in place like this, there's hardly any luggage space, and there's no extra room beneath for anything under the floor either. In this PHEV model, a lot of the room you do have is taken up by charging lead bags. There's a 12-volt socket on the left. As usual in this class, there is unfortunately nowhere to store the boot's roller blind cover when the 3rd seating row is in use. Push the 3rd row pews into the floor, which has to be done manually, and things improve hugely, of course. 628 litres of space is freed up, a figure that falls only fractionally to 621 with this PHEV model. If you want to go further and flatten the 2nd row, there are switches to do that on the right. Although they only flatten the seats, they can't then raise them up again. With everything retracted, there's up to 1,949 litres of space with the hybrid, or up to 1,942 with this PHEV. This PHEV Santa Fe costs just under £5,000 more than the base HEV hybrid model, and it was priced, as we filmed in early 2025, from around £52,000. All PHEVs come only with 4-wheel drive. There are 3 trim levels: Premium, Ultimate, or as in this case, Calligraphy, and 3 rows of seats are standard, even in this PHEV. Quite a few rival plug-in hybrid SUVs can only offer 2 seating rows. If, having considered all of that, you might well conclude that this Santa Fe best suits your needs, and if that is the case, you'll be wanting to know just how generous Hyundai has been here with the standard kit on this 5th generation design. So let's take a look at that right now. Even premium spec gets you 20-inch alloy wheels, electrically operated and folding door mirrors, privacy glass, front and rear LED lighting, smart key keyless entry, a smart powered tailgate, front and rear parking sensors and roof rails. Plus there's a drive mode selector, self-leveling suspension and adaptive cruise control with stop and go. Cabin features include leather upholstery, a dual curved twin display setup integrating a 12.3-inch driver's supervision instrument cluster. Plus there are heated and power adjustable front seats, a rear view monitor, a windscreen auto defog function, a wireless phone charging mat and rear door blinds. MediaTek, that's taken care of by a 12.3-inch touchscreen nav system, which includes navigation, Hyundai's BlueLink and live services, over-the-air software updates, voice activation and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Mid-range Ultimate trim introduces the Bose premium sound system, plus there's an electrically adjustable steering column and a driver's memory seat function. There are ventilated front seats and heated rear seats. There's a dual wireless phone charger. There's a digital center mirror, a surround view monitor, and also a head-up display. There is also a remote smart park assist and side parking sensors. At the top of the lineup is this Calligraphy trim. This gets you 20-inch black alloy wheels, premium relaxation front seats and Napa leather seat trim, as well as black finish styling elements. At this level in the range, you'll also get 2 extra really neat Santa Fe design touches. There's a hidden C-pillar assist handle, and that pops open as a grab handle so you can reach up and get things on the roof rack, and a UV sterilization tray. Now this allows you to store sanitary items like face masks hygienically, and it enables you to sanitize small items like phones, gloves and keys with a touch of a button. It's also worth mentioning that with this Calligraphy spec, the cabin can be ordered with an optional 6-seat configuration for £1,000 more. Onto options, you can add a SmartSense Plus pack with base premium trim, and there's the option of a digital key for Ultimate and Calligraphy customers. Now, unless you specify your Santa Fe with solid terracotta orange paintwork, you're going to have to pay extra for your paint choice too. We have earthy bronze metallic here. There is backseat protection for pets, there's a trunk organizer, there's trunk liner protection, a trunk mat which extends across the bumper, a mudguard kit and all-weather floor mats. As you'd expect with a big SUV, you can also add a tow bar, side steps, a tailgate bike rack and the roof crossbars which will let you take bikes, skis and snowboards or a roof box. Onto safety. As you'd expect, autonomous braking, Hyundai calls it forward collision avoidance assist, is included across the range, but you'll only get this system in its full FCA2 form if you avoid base trim. The same is true of the highway drive assist semi-autonomous drive system. Across the range, you'll also get lane keep assist, lane follow assist and intelligent speed limit assist. There is also Hyundai's clever blind spot view monitor. This uses little side cameras to spring up an image of the flank of the car in the instrument cluster there as you indicate. There is also a driver attention monitor, but this operates via a rather oversensitive camera on the steering column. There is also a system which prompts you to check the back seat when you're leaving the car. As you'd want from a big family wagon like this, front side, curtain and centre front airbags are all included, all linked to an eCall system which will alert the rescue services with your GPS location if any of them ever go off. For real frugality in a Santa Fe though, you'll need this plug-in hybrid variant. It's not quite as efficient as its obvious segment competitors because, unlike most of them, Hyundai hasn't dramatically increased the size of the PHEV system battery. It's just 13.8 kilowatt hours in size. That's why this car can travel only 33.6 AER rated miles on battery power alone. That's around half the mileage you get from, say, a Skoda Kodiaq IV, although that car has only 5 seats. That restricted battery size also tells with the efficiency stats: 166 miles per gallon on the combined cycle and 38 grams per kilometre of CO2. That sounds good, but it's nowhere near the level boasted by most obvious rivals. And that in turn means you'll be paying a higher level of benefit in kind taxation, 12% than you might expect to with a car of this kind. As usual with a PHEV, what you'll actually get in day-to-day use won't be far off what you would have got with a decent diesel SUV of this sort in the past. We have been getting figures in the mid-40 mpg range on this test, falling to the mid-30s with motorway use. Unfortunately, this plug-in hybrid gets a much smaller fuel tank too, 47 litres. Now, once the battery gets down below 15% capacity, the PHEV system draws on the engine a great deal more and efficiency suffers. So you want to keep the battery topped up as much as possible. In that regard, it's worth pointing out that the plug-in Santa Fe's onboard charger has just 3.6 kilowatts of output, so a full charge from a typical 7.4 kilowatt AC home charger will take 4 hours, and that's quite a long time for a PHEV wallbox charge. Whatever Santa Fe drivetrain and power plant you choose, to help you get somewhere close to the quoted fuel figures, you will of course need to keep this Hyundai as regularly as possible in its eco drive mode, and that slightly restricts throttle travel and the climate system output too. You'll also need to be making regular use of these brake regeneration paddles that are provided behind the steering wheel here. With this plug-in hybrid model, the center screen has a PHEV section, and that has an energy flow monitor, and it displays EV range and battery status. Plus you can also set charging departure times, and there are graphs for fuel economy and energy consumption history. Now, all versions have a selectable idle monitor in the instrument cluster too, and that can show how long the stop-start system has been operating on the trip. What else might you need to know? Well, because the asking prices here are above the £40,000 threshold, you'll be paying a premium level of road tax, although Hybrid Drive does knock £10 off that every year. Insurance ratings, Group 36 for the four-wheel drive PHEV. Residual values, they'll be similar to what you'll get with rivals. Industry experts reckon that values in the 45 to 47% bracket after 3 years, with the hybrids doing better than the PHEV. As ever with the Hyundai, a strong buying incentive is the 5-year unlimited mileage warranty, which comes as standard. That's backed up by breakdown cover that lasts the same length of time, and also free annual vehicle health checks over that duration. True rival brand Kia does claim to better that package by offering a similar 7-year deal, but there you are limited to 100,000 miles. As for servicing, well, your Santa Fe will need a garage visit once a year or every 10,000 miles, whichever comes around first. If you want to budget ahead for your routine maintenance, there are various Hyundai Sense packages which offer fixed price servicing over 2, 3 or 5-year periods, and you can pay for your plan monthly, and you can also add MOTs into the 3 or 5-year plans for an extra fee. This PHEV version offers an additional 8-year, 100,000 mile warranty package for the battery. As the diesel era draws to a close, but at a time when the EV era isn't quite mature, the appeal of plug-in hybrid tech has never been stronger. And it makes particular sense in a spacious family SUV of this kind, provided the manufacturer concerned can build it in while keeping a 7-seat format, as Hyundai has here. We liked the previous 4th generation Santa Fe plug-in hybrid too, but it was lacking quite a lot in terms of pavement presence, something the Korean maker's been bold in rectifying here. Not everyone will like the end result, but if you do, you might really want one. And should that be the case, the extra for this PHEV variant could be money well spent.